The time has come, folks. Welcome everyone to the first episode. Thanks for everyone who subscribed so far and everyone who's watching this project on Facebook. Let's get right into it. The reason why I started this thing is because after 20 years of music making, I would like to do some research in mobile music making because I got fed up with bending over in front of the computer for long hours, and I want to experiment with different applications, different tools, because I always loved the live approach. But when I started to do this as a DJ back in the 90s, these hardware were really expensive. So that's why I started music making. But then last few years I started to approach hardware again and spending less time in front of a desktop computer. The most important tool we're going to use is the iPad. I've got some basic applications so far I've tried out and used. I will try to give you practical information because I want to be as hands-on as possible. Later on, when we master the basic tools, we master what we have, that's when we can move on. Hopefully, in the future I will have millions of fans and I'm gonna have these supporters, and who knows, maybe I will just buy everything and I show you everything. No, not really. I want to do it this way, show you what I have and learn everything step by step, because it's better to master 5 applications than to know nothing about 20 and then just, spend money brainlessly on them. Who knows? But feel free to comment and offer me applications, right? So, you've got the iPad. I think it's good to have the regular one. That's why I've got myself, 2018 one. If you want to use MIDI controllers and sound cards with it, you need to buy a camera connection kit from Apple. It's like $40, but it's really useful, and I think this is the only way. Yeah, of course you have these Bluetooth devices which transfer wireless MIDI, but then you're still missing out on connecting your marvelous hardware outboard like the Scarlett sound card what I have. This is what I've got when I moved back home from UK, and yes, I think I've made the right decision because it was a really good value for the money. What I also have is a USB hub. Make sure you go for the one with the power supply, because in some cases devices you want to connect may use more power, and it's useful to have something like this, especially if you connect multiple stuff. Don't worry, you can connect your camera connection kit and this one to a USB to a power bank as well. So you can just hook everything up. You connect your camera connection kit to the iPad, and you can connect your USB hub, and everything else you connect to the USB hub. So now they work perfectly together. Later on, I want to get some Bluetooth MIDI devices as well, and I will show you. I'm eyeing some Korg stuff right now, but I still want to get familiar with what I have and how can I use these things with the iPad. I want to build a nice ecosystem with pre-programmed controls for stuff that will let you or let me do things nice and easy. The first thing I want to show you is AUM. It's really useful to connect your audio and MIDI devices. You can fire it up you can look into this lovely matrix where you can actually route MIDI from one app to the other. And I will show you now how to use virtual instruments within AUM, and how I use my external hardware synth. When you start it up, you see a blank screen. When you click the plus sign, you can add an audio track. For example, I add my sound card's input. I hooked up my virus TI to this input in the front of the sound card with the right cable. So now I'm going to actually set up that my MIDI keyboard sends MIDI information to the output, or to the MIDI out of the sound card. Now, when I play a note, you can hear it already. I can add audio effects as well on the input. So I can compress the sound, I can color the sound with built-in plugins, or whatever you like to use. There are loads of nice audio effects plugins already out there, so feel free to experiment with them. And of course, if you are creative, you can use your FX outboard as well on the chain. The program gives you one parameter controllable straight away on the channel, but if you want to set up an in-depth control environment, you can set your MIDI controller up of the controller of your choice to control transport functions in AUM, to control different functions on specific channels. You can mute a channel, you can fire it up to record. And that's when it gets interesting, when I'm gonna actually be performing and then show you how to set up knobs, how to set up faders, how to split keyboards, and so on. So back to the basics. We have this basic screen where I have an audio channel. I have connected my hardware synth, and I'm going to sequence this synth via a Midi sequencer, in this case Atom. I'm going to set up the matrix that actually I want to control Atom with my MIDI keyboard, and Atom will send MIDI information to the MIDI out of my sound card, and the synth outboard is hooked back to AUM. One of the most powerful functions in Atom is that actually you don't need to draw in notes, you just have to press the loop recording button. In this way, you can actually play in your notes and enter MIDI data on a really convenient way, because MIDI looping is something really future-proof, You already have these notes. Of course, you can manually adjust these notes lengthwise. You can move them around on the piano roll. And if you link this sequencer to multiple synths or multiple sound sources, you can make nice layers. And inside this thing, actually, you can see them all at once. All these different pages where you actually entered notes. The next thing I want to show you is AudioBus. Similarly, it works with MIDI and audio. It has a built-in mixer on a separate page, and if you purchase it separately, you can control this host MIDI-wise as well. Yes, I think it's an in-app purchase. So, in the audio section, I have added two synth master ones. And then what I want to show you now is in the MIDI section, if you add two Midi splitters in between the MIDI keyboard and the synth, visually, really nicely, you can actually adjust what part of your MIDI controller keyboard controls what synth. You can make layers, you can make splits, and this way, on a single MIDI keyboard, you can control multiple things at the same time. You can of course set up MIDI channels, but I think visual things are the best because you get what you want to get straight away. You just slide the marker, and with your left hand you can already control this arpeggio, for example, and you can play solo with your right hand. Okay, so that was rather a test episode, so I apologize for the shortness of this video, but at least now I realized I have to do this like Hungarian and English thing. I'm gonna post videos in Hungarian and I'm gonna quickly translate it, not messing around with subtitles, on a separate playlist, yeah? So the same video will be published twice, one with Hungarian sound and one dubbed in English. So hopefully I see you soon in the future. I hope you will like what I'm doing. Take care. See ya.